My body is ready.
My lips are ready. Oh, wait, I shouldn't say that after you said your body was
These
ready. That sounds.
And I was about to say these nuts.
No, I don't want to say that after saying my lips.
No.
Are ready. I've been teaching all day, so
already
my voice
going
box
downhill.
is warmed up.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah, you warm up that throat.
What? Ew.
Yeah. So,
It's been a minute.
It's been some shit.
It's been a minute, and there's been a lot of shit. The last time we recorded, it said the 27th of December, so we literally took off almost an entire month.
Yes.
Of doing. I mean, we were still kind of doing work on the side.
We've been doing work. This is more of a update than anything.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, hello everybody.
Hello.
Project Airwaves.
This is us.
I'm D.
This is Lynn.
I'm a dude.
He's a dude.
You're a dude. He's a dude.
Because we're all dudes.
She's a dude. Because we're all dudes.
Is that Good Burger?
Yeah.
Just hanging out, having fun.
If you think about current day's environment,
oh god, yeah, you can't relate.
We're all
to that.
dudes.
Yeah, we're all dudes. Too, yeah. That's true.
We're all dudes. So really, we're just going to be playing catch up because we haven't really been recording, but there's been good reason for that. We've been doing a lot of back end work on our website, working on our Teespring, getting you guys good quality merch. We just started ordering some of it so we can give you guys a nice little preview in some like model format.
The new business cards are pretty dope. I was giving it to one of my
cards.
guys a day or two ago, and he was scanning it in, and it's quick to go to the website.
It's cool. It's just it didn't come out exactly the way we wanted, and so you live and you learn. You got to spend money to really figure out where's the good quality stuff. So we're gonna order more business cards, but the ones we got, beautiful.
Fantastic.
We got the QR code on there.
The QR code is exceptional.
Takes you to the website.
Exceptional.
If you did not know, we have a
Excelsior.
website, projectairwaves.com. Go ahead and check us out. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Anchor. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're all over the place, all in your face. You also want to check out our Patreon. By all means, if you can, please subscribe. We have tiers starting as low as $3, and you get full access to any and all content and merch. If you don't want to, sign up for our Patreon, like I mentioned, we have our Teespring. You can go ahead and buy some of our merch. We love you forever. Or you can hop on Venmo and do a one-time transaction. You know what I'm saying? All right, now that we got all that out of the way, like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Lynn, go ahead and, get this dumpster fire started.
January was fucking trash, man. It was so bad. I hated it. It was just bad. Jesus Christ.
You were holding that in.
I wanted to put my head through a fucking door.
You've been through some shit.
That whole month of January was just a fucking mess. I mean, thank God for February at this point. I got nothing good about that godforsaken month.
Start from the beginning.
I don't even know where to start. Fuck, what did we do for the first week? When was the last session that we were supposed to record?
2 weeks ago? A week ago? 2 weeks ago?
It was like the first week of... You know what? Because I remember the date, because I have the fucking thing for it.
Yeah.
January 14th. Yeah. So the week was going off a little rough for work, at least on my end. I'm talking everybody in my department caught the second strain of this new Decepticon, we'll call it. So-and-so and the Autobots came through and wiped out my managers, wiped out a good portion of my team, took out a bunch of my students. So we were really close to closing the corporate academy for security, but we got by the skin of our teeth. Didn't help because the director of our department came in and just started fucking raising hell and micromanaging, and it changed everything for the worse. We had a lot of freedom to be able to do a lot of stuff, and now we pretty much can't wipe our ass without writing down the time we did it, how much toilet paper we used when we did it. Made sure we used 2-ply, not 3-ply.
Was there corn?
Oh, you know what? I couldn't even tell. I had to deposit it and then put it in a Ziploc bag and hand it to my boss to make sure that my nutrition was on point.
He smelled it and probably tasted it just to make sure.
No, not that deep. It's not that deep into micromanaging, but yeah. So work turned into trash. I was like, okay, it is what it is. We'll reassess, push through, still trying to work on the business on the side, so we'll figure something else out. I was excited to work on the podcast. So I go over, you shut your mouth. You shut your whore mouth and stop laughing at me. This is fucking serious.
Sorry.
So I go down to D's. I was like, you know what? I get off of work at, little story time.
Yeah, story time.
I get off of work early so I can go to physical therapy for my shoulder because I have a issue with my rotator cuff. I go to physical therapy. I'm on my way over to D's to go record for the podcast. I park my car. You were like
2 houses up.
Yeah, so I'm parked off on near close to Jones, and all the houses face out on the street.
Yes.
So you have to park your car in a lined area on the street.
Yes.
And there's a lot of traffic that goes up and down. So I parked my car 2 or 3 houses up the street to make sure so I could have room because all the other cars were taking up.
Yeah, it gets kind of tight over there.
There was a 2003 Ford Explorer parked right in front of your house.
Yep.
My car was 2 to 3 houses up.
Yes.
So we're in the house. We're getting ready to start the podcast.
Just set everything up.
And we heard what sounded like a bang. And I looked at D and I was like, was that a gunshot?
Yeah.
He paused and looked at me for a second, and then we heard another bang. And he's like, nah, man, pretty sure that was a car crash.
Yeah.
So we're like, you know what? Let's go outside. Thank God he said that. We didn't just ignore it.
That's true.
Because had we ignored it, it would have been worse.
Oh.
We get outside, and D gets right ahead, and I see him look to his left, and then it was like slow motion. Like I was hearing that Sarah McLachlan in the background. In the eyes of an angel.
Oh my God.
And he just slowly turns and looks at me and just shakes his head back and forth. And I'm sitting there. My heart took a shit.
Yeah.
I stop and I go, what?
Yeah.
And he goes, there was an accident. Super slow. I walk out and I look to my right. This human being decided to say, fuck it, didn't attempt to brake or do anything like that. He swerved going, I don't know, as far as directions. Is that going?
He was headed west.
He was heading west?
Yes.
So down?
No, up the street.
No, down the street.
No, he was heading up the street because your car was facing west.
But he swerved and hit.
Yeah.
So he came
from east?
East. He came from east going west, going down the street, swerved into the 2003 Ford Explorer in front of D's house.
Yep.
Hit that car so goddamn hard. I don't know how he didn't dent it, but it smashed the front of his car and pushed his car skidding sideways. He slammed into the back of my car so hard, it pushed it 2 houses over into somebody's driveway and just ripped apart my back axle and my tires on my driver's side. No engine damage, anything like that, but the car was, smashed in, pretty much totaled. This guy's car was so smashed that the front of his tires were doing the splits.
All his airbags
had deployed, so, me and D go running over there, see what's going on. This guy's practically pinned in his car.
Pause, real quick. So, Lynn gave you his perspective. Really quick, I'm going to give you mine. So we go outside, okay? I'm used to, it's not often, but we have car accidents around there because, like Lynn said, the cars are parked on the street. People don't know how to drive, blah, blah. So I go out, I look up the street, and it didn't register it was Lynn's car. Now, in my mind, I was about to say, someone's car got fucked up. But something had stopped me, and then Lynn comes around the corner because he's like, yo, what's going on? And it dawns on me, I was like, that's his car. And I look at him and he's looking at me, and I looked at him.
And I looked at him.
And he looked at me.
And he looked at me. And I looked at him.
And he looked at me and he had this look in his eyes like, oh, hey, what's going on? And I was just like, I have to tell him his child is dead.
Oh, no.
Like, he just got hit by a car. His car, not a living person, his car. But it was just that look, and you saw the soul drain from Lynn's body, and he was just like, that's my fucking car. And I was like, that's your car. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I go back inside to get my jacket, to go back outside to go check on what happened.
Because we were out there for like, what, a good hour?
Almost 2.5, 3 hours, yeah. We get out there. The guy in the car is just completely delirious.
Gone.
Yeah, you couldn't tell. I was pretty sure he was under the influence, working security. I've seen it more times than not, and I could tell it's either he had a seizure and was just mentally not coherent, or he was under the influence, not of alcohol, some form of substance abuse, because I couldn't smell any kind of green leafy or any kind of alcohol on him. But he had blood on this, on what it was like the front of his shirt.
Yeah, it was like the front of his shirt.
And I went up to him, and I was like, sir, just stay in the car. You realize that you're in an accident. And he just kept saying, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, he was completely disoriented.
Couldn't say anything. Didn't know where else the fuck he was.
You remember the old lady?
Yeah. What was it? What was it, the old lady?
The old lady.
Which one?
So me and Lynn got to the car. We're attending to the driver. Me and him are in full security mode. I didn't even realize I still had a security mode. We're in full security mode, directing traffic. Lynn's trying to, just get a handle of the situation.
I'm talking to Metro Dispatch.
Yeah, he's on the phone. This old lady is yelling. Now, this is a BMA, a black male adult, in the car, and this old woman, she's yelling at him. She's like, "You're on drugs, ain't you?" You're drunk, huh? I told you to stop drinking. I'm like, do you know him? She's like, no, I don't know him. I'm like, so why are you yelling at him like you know him? So then the dude, because he's disoriented, what do people tend to do when they're disoriented and they feel stuck in an area? They try to get out. So he was trying to climb out of the car, but you could tell this dude was too big for this damn car.
And he was pinned in the car because
I had suspected it wasn't his car. We later found out it was his girlfriend's car.
It
was somebody else's car.
It was not his car.
It wasn't his car. So this dude had no license or... no insurance.
He had no insurance. He had a license, but he had no insurance under his name. The car was registered to somebody else that barely had liability, like the cheapest liability you could possibly get. So we're making contact with this guy, trying to get information as much as we can. I'm on the phone with Metro Dispatch, and I'm giving them basic information that I normally do when I'm reporting it when I'm at work. So Metro Dispatch picked up really quick when I started giving them, it's a BMA, approximate age, in this kind of vehicle. It looks like he might be under the influence. Metro picked up that I could tell. They're like, do you have any kind of security or law enforcement experience? And I was like, no, no, ma'am, no, sir. Or yes, I do security. So then they automatically switch gears to, rather than talking to a civilian, okay, can you give me the exact height, description, and size of this person? Can you check his vehicle to make sure that his vehicle doesn't have any weapons inside of it? And I'm sitting here on the phone like, no, I'm not checking this man's car for fucking firearms. I just need someone to get here. Oh, well, can you tell me the approximate speed he was going, if he braked, if he stopped? I was like, no, I'm not a fucking detective.
I think they thought you were the guard that saw the accident.
Yeah, because the way that I was giving all the information when I'm used to doing it at work for people that are incidences is I start to try to break everything down to profile the person so Metro has the maximum information. Cross streets, time, if the person is conscious and coherent, if they're able to answer basic questions, what their nationality is. And when I started going through all of that, Metro's like, okay, we're gonna send some information to. Oh yeah, sorry, my roommate's dog.
Sorry.
She's yelping over there because she wants attention. Yes, I see you. No, you're staying in the kennel. Chill the fuck out. So by the time Metro gets there and CCFD gets there, they get the guy out of the car. And when they get the guy out of the car, he throws himself on the ground.
Yes.
And just lays on the ground. And Metro looks at him. They're like, why are you on the ground? And he just isn't talking.
This dude wasn't tiny either. No. He was like a good 6'1", 6'2", and like 300 pounds. And he just flung himself on the ground.
I don't know about 300. Maybe.
No, really?
Maybe mid, because he was relatively skinny, but he was tall.
Yeah.
So I want to say 220, 250 maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, he threw himself on the ground. Metro looked at him and they're like, what are you doing? Why are you laying on the ground? They got him up. Long story short, because obviously got a little bit more stuff to talk about, but he got picked up by AMR, American Medical Response, and they took him to UMC Hospital. The biggest thing, because I was irritated with trying to get a tow truck to come take my car.
Oh, man.
The insurance company that I had was just fucking garbage. They just could not fathom what to do. I told them I needed roadside assistance because that's part of the app that you get roadside assistance.
No, we can call them out. Progressive sucks.
Progressive is trash.
They suck.
I'm just going to put that out there right now.
We have full coverage and they suck.
And I was like, D tells me the thing is like, hey, on the app it says that there's something for roadside assistance.
There was, yes. Phone numbers and everything.
And then I go to call them. They're like, yeah, we don't technically do anything for roadside assistance. It's only for like flat tires. I was like, but I'm on the road and I need assistance. Well, we're sorry. We can connect you with somebody else. They connect me with some third-party company that doesn't know what the fuck I'm doing or what they're doing. I had to call for claims. While I'm doing that.
Right.
While I'm doing all this, I'm trying to deal with the guy, contact Metro Dispatch, contact my insurance company to get the claim ready, while trying to get Metro to give me the information so I can do my report with them.
Yeah.
This BMA right behind me. He walks right behind me and almost whispers into my ear.
Oh my God.
Hey man, is that your car? And I look at him and I was like, yeah, that's my car. Hey man, you think you can move your car?
Can you move that?
Can you move your car?
My mom's coming home.
My mom's coming home soon. And you're kind of blocking our driveway. I looked at D and I turned around and in my head I'm like, if you don't get this man out of my fucking peripheral, I'm going to throw him in oncoming traffic. I look at him, I go, no, I can't.
I can't move.
I was like, unless you want me to push the car, my whole back end is completely ripped off and the axles are blown out. And he goes, oh, yeah, man, that sucks. Okay. Goes and steps back. Finally, Metro comes. They deal with the guy.
Yeah.
The AMR transports him to UMC Hospital. Towards the end of it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go inside. And I'm standing there kind of trying to process everything to figure stuff out. Because, I'm perfectly calm because I'm just used to dealing with that shit. As I'm doing that, the mom pops up behind me. And she puts her hand right like on her hips, comes up. hey, is that your car? And I'm like, in my head, I close my eyes and I'm like, I know it's this motherfucker's mother because of the way that I'm hearing it.
Right.
And as I'm talking, as I'm sitting there talking, as I'm sitting there, I turn around. I was like, yes, ma'am, that is my car. Says the same thing. She stops and says, can you move your car for me, please? Because I need to get my car in the driveway. And I look at her and I do the Will Smith meme where I just do this. I put my hands and arms out like, look at my car.
Like the YouTube rewind?
Yeah, the YouTube rewind. Like, look at my car. Like, I can't fucking move it, lady. And she's like, oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
So,
oh my God.
To wrap all that shit up, to not dwindle on something long and hard, they total lost my car. I thought because there was no front damage to it, they would at least just reimburse me because I had full coverage. But because of that piece of shit's liability, which wasn't even his, it covered the damage of the first car hit, which did no damage because a 2003 Ford Explorer built like a fucking tank.
I think the rear tail light got blown out. That was it.
I didn't even see that.
That was the only damage it sustained.
So it got no damage. And
barely no damage.
The partial of my damage, liability just does not cover. I think it covers like maybe 15 grand. Yeah. So they already did a couple grand on that person and a little bit on mine. My insurance had to take over everything. They total lost it because it was 65% of what the value of the car was. Yep. So they took my car, which I didn't even know insurance companies could do that. If you don't own the car and they total lost it, they take your car entirely away from you. Well, what if I want to keep it? Because the front is perfectly fine.
No, so because they bought the car from the company.
From the
so
company,
technically they own
that was new to me.
Whack.
I never knew that shit. So car got total lost, got thrown to the junkyard. I had to pay $500 to $600 for 2 weeks for a rental because that guy had no rental coverage insurance. I thought I did, but you know, Progressive being garbage didn't have any of that shit. So yeah, that sucked. Right after that, I'm like, you know what? Shit is what it is. I'm used to getting shit on.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Right.
So I go through the week. I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I got a UFC fight to look forward to. Francis Ngannou versus Sirigan. Big heavyweight fight. I was really excited to watch it. I go to my buddy's house that Saturday, and as I'm sitting there, you know, having a drink, having a good time, trying to just wind down from that shitty week prior to with all the garbage at work and not having a car.
Right.
And the insurance company's just fucking me over. I notice, I'm running a fever.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, uh-oh. And I felt body aches. And it was right after I'd finished the gym, maybe an hour or two before. Right. I thought I was just run down from the workout because my workouts were struggling because I just didn't have time to train. And I felt body aches and I had a fever. I was having pain in my teeth on the left-hand side of my jaw. My throat was fucking sore and my ear was killing me. I'm telling you, I could hear a fart seep through a pair of cheeks 2 miles away because it was so sensitive. I don't know what
that sounds like.
You don't want to.
I hope
it's not that it's like when Superman first starts trying to hone his ability, so he has to figure out what he's listening to.
Everybody.
And I'm hearing everything. Yes. My ear was picking up everything, and in such a painful way.
That's
I'm like,
weird.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's see what Sunday brings. Maybe my body will try to reset itself.
Kind of like snap back.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't stay sick for long. It's rare. You know, I will get kind of like a little bit of a cold every once in a while, but my body, you know, I'm relatively healthy. I take my supplements, so I've never been sick. I've never had the vid. I don't have really any underlying issues with really anything because I'm pretty active and I don't stay sick for long. And you know, Sunday comes, I still felt like dog shit. I'm like, fuck. And with everything going on with everybody and their mom getting sick at work, I'm like, okay, you know, this might be the time. This might be it where, you know, I'm probably gonna fucking get it because I didn't get it the first time it came through. So I take one of those little at-home pregnancy tests.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, you know, I'll give this a go to see. Obviously not because I'm pregnant, but for the rapid test because I need to make sure. I tell my boss, hey, can I just take Monday off just to be cautious because I'm not sure what's going on. The minute I say so much as the smallest thing of just saying, hey, I'm having ear pain in this and I have a little bit of a sore throat, they're like, no.
It's like that Metal Gear Solid when you catch somebody's attention.
Yeah. They're like, what? You're feeling this, and this? I was like, well, you know, the body ache and the fever's gone, but, you know, I still have a really bad sore throat and I have a really bad ear pain. And they're like, no, you have to get tested. And I was like, okay, well, I took one of the at-home tests and I came out negative. And they're like, that's not good enough. I tried to check with CVS and with Walgreens, and both CVS and Walgreens weren't able to do the drive-through tests or any other kind of test because they were completely out of the Rapigen ones. And they weren't going to be ready until Tuesday or Wednesday. Now,
how crazy is that they send us these at-home tests, which are pretty much like field tests?
Pretty much.
You know, and that's supposed to be good enough for your employer. It's A, supposed to save the hospitals from having all these people. B, it's supposed to save people from flooding Walgreens and UMC so that they run out of tests, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But your job won't even accept the fact that that's a negative test.
And the biggest thing is that they don't keep a lot of them in stock just because people buy 2, 3, 4, 5 at a time, not knowing that they do have an expiration date. The little cotton piece that you go to drip everything in when you do your little nostril swab, it has an expiration date. It starts to deteriorate over time. So it's
Which
not
is weird,
it's not going to hold
but it
value
makes
for a while.
sense.
So it's like when I went to go get it, I had to wait to find one in a different location. I take the test and I'm good. But because it wasn't one of those, my boss is like, you need to wait until you can do one somewhere else.
Wow.
So I had to go to the CSN campus to do it on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
It takes
They are
48
doing it
hours.
there, huh?
Yes. And it was fast. I was in and out relatively quick, but with 40 hours of having to wait, I don't get back to work until Friday. So for 4 days, it's funny. Those 4 days of being semi-sick were more relaxing than it was for me to go back to work being healthy.
Right.
Because the minute I got back to work, all the fucking drama hit, all the bullshit hit, the rules are changed, they're social distancing and doing all this crap, and
goodness.
we're not doing graduations in person anymore. It's all like a virtual queue, and I'm like, this fucking sucks.
That just takes away from the whole experience.
Yeah, I felt much better knowing that I already knew I was negative. I came negative on both of them. I was able to go train. I was eating and sleeping good. I was able to actually be active. I was doing shit on the podcast. And it's like going back to work was more stressful than being sick.
Yes.
And it's just that sucks that's an actual thing. But at the end of the day, those 2 or 3 weeks just kind of ate up whatever ounce of energy that I had.
Well, and people are burnt out because COVID is burning us out, but you still have your normal day-to-day life stuff. Like what you've dealt with in the first month of 2022 is life.
It's life shit, and that's
exhausting.
And that's what I pretty much
on
kept
top
saying.
of now everybody at your job thinks you have COVID, or they're treating you like you have COVID. So now they're like, go home. So now you're stuck at home.
You're not allowed to get normal kind of sick.
Right.
It's like I got shunned when I was like, I just need to take 1 or 2 days.
Shun the non-believer.
Shun Charlie the non-believer. I got shunned for being sick. They're like, just make sure you handle your affairs.
Yeah.
And make sure you're good when you come back. And I'm like, handle my affairs. I'm not
dying.
I'm not dying. I'm not prepping to be buried. It's just I had a sinus infection.
You can't get sick anymore. It makes no. How did COVID? Guys, look. We've all done the research. We've seen the science. But how did COVID how did Rona replace the common cold? Like, we get it, it's infectious, it's all this stuff, but you can still also just get a cold.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is right.
I knew going
It's
forward,
just crazy how sensitive people are, to like, I saw this meme. It was like somebody walks in the store, everybody's fine, and you cough, and everybody stops. And you cough again, and they look at you, and then you have to leave, or else they're all gonna mob you.
There was the meme. Have you seen the new Matrix yet? Matrix.
No.
There was a meme in exactly that of how it's still the pandemic in 2022, and it shows somebody walking through. I think it might have been a mall or some kind of place, and the person like goes to hide a sneeze, and they sneeze, and then everybody turns and looks, and then it's how in the new Matrix when Neo and Trinity are going
like when
away.
Cypher got stuck in the walls, or like when never mind.
What?
Sorry.
No. So it's the new Matrix. Where
the new one. Okay.
They have this all of the bots that are inside the Matrix. They have something called a kill mode where they start throwing themselves at you like I Am Legend. Kamikaze.
Oh my.
Like The Happening or no, like you remember I Am Legend?
Yes.
Where he's in the car and they're running at the car and they throw their body at it.
Awesome.
That's what they're doing.
That's
all the people look at the guy that sneezed and it shows Neo riding on a bike and it's got like thousands of people chasing after him, throwing their bodies into the fucking cars to try and kill him because that's what it ended up being now. So anyways, to wrap up that end, the first month of January.
So you had fun. You're still having fun.
It's gotten better. February was a lot more gracious. I got myself into a new car.
Yeah. Which looks cooler than your other car.
Oh, dude, I liked my other car a lot. I really wanted to keep it long term for sure. It was good on gas. It definitely did everything I wanted. It was running. It was a hybrid, so
Toyota.
It was a Camry. Camry hybrid.
Camry?
Mm-hmm. Toyota Camry hybrid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was a cool car.
That was slick. Yeah, it was what 2019.
2019. So the newest car that I've ever had.
Yeah.
But then I got myself into something new.
Yes.
And this thing is like the Batmobile of new 2022 Honda Accord Hybrid Sport.
It's purr.
And I was telling D, it's the equivalent of jet black. And the rims are like they look brand new. It looks like it's customized.
It almost looks like your other car got a body kit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if a Tesla decided to doggy style Audi.
Yeah.
Because the lights are built like an Audi in the front, but the inside is Tesla Tesla material. It's crazy. Not to fanboy over, but this is my first actual brand new car.
Yeah.
So I definitely can't afford to get fired anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because that car definitely did
COVID.
Cost, it's the one thing that I got for myself that was nice because I never buy new shit for myself.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and hit on our main topic. Well, okay. So this is a topic I want to talk about,
right.
And I want Lynn to chime in because this is one of Lynn's favorite podcasters, Mr. Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Now, unlike what everybody else is doing, I am going to take the opposite stance and say, why are we bothering Joe Rogan about anything he says?
They want to...
Anything. He's a scapegoat.
They want to, and like I said, to not beat a dead horse because everybody's already kind of talked about this more or less, but he's one of the few people in the world that has freedom of speech, meaning that no matter what he said...
Yes.
Be it misinformation to others or anything. He has a lot of intellectual conversations with people. And I hate politics with a passion. I wouldn't consider myself a leftist or a right.
No.
Like, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
No.
I don't really give a fuck.
Right.
At the end of the day, my choices don't dictate based off of my
political views.
My political views.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is that you're getting a certain political party from, I think it's the Republicans, that are throwing a fit about misinformation. So because he had a specific person on there that nobody likes, I can't even remember who the fuck
it was. Some doctor or somebody. Yeah. They're well known in the medical field.
Who's the guy that me and you were talking about? Because Ben Shapiro was interviewing with him just recently.
Jordan Peterson?
Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson was one of them.
Yeah, he was one of them. I didn't
Jordan
hear the
Peterson
other guy,
is
though.
Considered a leftist. So
whatever.
Or Republican. No, I think he's a Republican. I'm pretty sure. One of the two. They were talking about it, and that was one of the people that got thrown around for misinformation, and then a doctor. Mm-hmm. So because of that, Neil Young pulled all of his information from... Because he got tired of hearing Joe Rogan's misinformation bullshit.
It's so fucking petty.
So Neil Young did this shit where he's like, well, I don't
pulled
like...
his entire catalog from Spotify.
I did not know...
To boycott Joe Rogan.
I did not know that Neil Young was even relevant.
I mean, technically he's not.
$2 billion in listeners.
Worth of music. Music, but not necessarily... They weren't doing it for him. They were doing it for his music. The people, like, they lost money because they lost his music.
Lost his music.
They go together. I get it.
Which, yes.
That is so petty.
My
thing is, okay, when my issue is misinformation versus the facts, okay? You should not be afraid. No one should be afraid of misinformation, okay? Because at some point in time, we've all been given misinformation. Mm-hmm. That's just called information.
It's just information.
You know, the story develops, the plot thickens, things come to light that weren't there initially. That's how it works. You have to kind of wade through the BS to get to the truth. And so what bothers me about this whole Joe Rogan nonsense, really what sent me over the edge, because I've made fun of Lynn for listening to Joe Rogan since we've started this podcast. But I swear it's almost like since Rona hit, all we've been hearing, Joe Rogan. Oh, he's on horse medication. Oh, he's doing this.
Yeah.
Dude, look, if the facts go against what he is saying, then the people will inevitably figure that out and they will start to move away from him.
Yeah, and
when you start to try and make him a martyr, or you start to paint a target on his back, you're now going to make people flock to him because they now want to know what he has to say.
Exactly. You're pushing them in the direction. It's like when you tell a kid not to do something, so in their mindset, they want to do it now even more. Like, oh, you're telling me not to do this.
Exactly.
There must be something interesting about it, so let me find out more. There was, when Dana White got sick, him and, I can't remember what football player it was. I don't know. One of the, some football player, Rogan had helped him with his Rona package to help kill whatever it was, which is ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies, IV drips, medicine, and everything like that. He did that with Dana White, and Dana White was saying, he was jokingly call him Dr. Rogan because he got good within like 2 days of getting sick. And there was a press conference where people were trying to bash Rogan during a UFC commentating thing at the end of the press conference with Dana White. And Dana White says, like, I'm going to make this really short because I don't like fucking politics. But the minute that Rogan told me about monoclonal antibodies and ivermectin, that is when you couldn't find anymore. They've been around for fucking years.
Yes.
And
over the counter.
He got it here in Nevada.
It's all over the counter.
He got it over here in Nevada. He made one call and got it. Now you can't find the shit anywhere.
Yes, because everybody bought it.
But
got it's just
pulled
like
from the market.
It's just like when Trump was talking about, and he said in a joking manner, but he was like, drink hand sanitizer. You should pump yourself full of liquid silver.
But when Trump did get Rona, he used monoclonal antibodies as well, and that made him better. And
they pumped him full of all types of cocktails.
70 years old and still was able to...
He was fine, and that's what I'm saying. See, it's like, I get it. Everybody's afraid of Rona. It's been around a long time, this, and that. But here's my issue. We've lost YouTube channels because of quote-unquote misinformation. How they're like, well, Rona came from a factory in this place over in that eastern country. And they're like, no, it didn't. It came from a bat. Now they're like, oh, well, it's possible it could have came from a lab. But okay, so are we going to reinstate those channels? So people that have been Rogan, discredited.
Have you? Well, do you have Spotify?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw he has one. He always has all his episodes. His episodes have always been 2-3 hours long. The last episode that he posted recently, I don't think he's posted anything since. It just says "Hello Friends," and it's 10 minutes long, and it's him talking about Spotify. Said he's like, hey, I want to tell Spotify I appreciate them for always having my back. He goes, I didn't mean to get them in all this shit. And he goes, right, and he explains everything, saying, I've always liked Neil Young. There's some other old female artist that wanted to pull her shit too, which is just fucking irrelevant. But he said the same thing. He goes, I'm not spreading out misinformation. It was information before saying the concept of if somebody's vaccinated, they can't get somebody sick.
Yes.
And if you said that, you were banned and punished. And now look, people who are vaccinated, everybody that I worked with that got sick, this is the second time they've gotten it.
Yes.
And they're vaccinated. So,
because he's right.
So is that information... Like you said, if the information is proved wrong...
Right. That would be considered misinformation.
Right.
And that's what I mean. He's not wrong, because Philly D has something to say about it, and you guys know I love Philly D. But Philly D was like, oh, no, he's absolutely wrong. They never claimed this. I was like, yeah, actually, they did.
Yeah.
They claimed that if you got your vaccination...
A specific kind of way.
Right. If you got your vaccination... Now, granted, they did not say there was a 100% chance you would not get Rona. They never said that. But they did say... you pretty much weren't going to get it, like your likelihood was damn near zero. They said you couldn't spread it to others, and they said you couldn't contract it. That's like the rest of us would through the air or something. So it's like, okay, but that was for a very short time. They did change the script shortly thereafter to kind of give you a little more of a broad explanation of it. But he's not wrong. There's times where me and Lynn want to talk about certain things to do with Rona, or certain things we've heard that, either help boost your immune system against Rona, help you do this, help you do that. And we don't want to talk about it because we're afraid of getting labeled as conspiracy theorists, as anti-vaxxers, as, all this right-wing, left-wing nonsense. And it's just like Joe Rogan was a scapegoat because the CDC and the WHO and Fartsy and all of them, they have to keep changing the narrative. They have to keep updating the story. And it's like all of us are sitting back here like we knew that. Yes. Like now herd immunity, which is me and you and maybe a population of 1,000 other people, can actually have a natural immunity, eventually develop a natural immunity against this. Now, if you guys have been listening to us for any substantial period of time, which has been, 2 years now? 3 years?
No,
2?
It'll be our first official.
No, last year was our first official year.
Yeah, we started in 2020, so this will be our second year.
It's our second year.
Second year.
I said this at the beginning of our podcast. I said, if Rona is a natural existing virus, we will naturally get over it. Did I not? Yes, I did. Go listen to it in one of our first episodes. It's just one of those things of, we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm just tired of hearing them
I'm tired of
make him a target.
Yeah, they're making people a target that actually want to...
He shouldn't be a target. He's just a guy who's happened to get famous because people like him.
Yes.
And he's doing what me and you are doing right now, just having a conversation.
We're just having a conversation.
He's not giving medical information.
No.
He's not telling people to go run here and buy this.
He's bringing on specialists, and he's saying the same thing. He goes, don't listen to me. I'm a dummy.
Right.
This is just my input on something. It's pretty much being said is that if you have any kind of personal opinion, you're supposed to keep your opinions to yourself. So you can't talk out loud. And when he has specialists that are on the podcast that actually know what they're talking about, those specialists, because of affiliations for what they believe in and what they talk about in different environments that have nothing to do with him,
right?
That's when he gets lumped in. And this is just, like I said, it's a concept.
But why did Spotify take on Rogan? They did not take on Rogan because he was a medical specialist.
There was a guy, Chris Deliri, I think is what his name is. He's a comedian, and he was saying the same thing. It's like, Spotify doesn't give a fuck about politics. They don't give a fuck about any stuff.
They want money.
They want money.
Joe Rogan brings money.
He said exactly that. They want to get as many dollar bills as they can and stack it in a pyramid to try and touch the sky.
Yes.
And if they lose a fraction of the money from one or two people, it's not going to phase them.
No, don't make it up.
Rogan can pull in their one of the top listeners.
That's what I mean. They paid Rogan not because he gives out legitimate information, not because he brings in views.
Yes.
He makes money.
He makes money.
That's it. We've dealt with Logan Paul, Sean Paul. What's his brother's name?
Jake Paul.
Logan
Paul, John Paul, Jake Paul.
The triplets. Yeah. We've dealt with the Paul brothers. We've dealt with Ninja. We've dealt with the pedos on YouTube. We've dealt with so much stuff, guys, that you think Joe Rogan, the one guy who's actually achieving what most of us want to, which is just to be a normal cat having a conversation, making millions of dollars. He's doing what the rest of us are doing, and you guys want to deplatform him
It's
because you're afraid of something you can't explain. Get the hell out of here.
It's starting to turn into a thing, and it's like I said, I've gone into this year, especially with all the bullshit that happened just recently. You have to stop caring.
Yeah.
I can't get worked up and mentally like flexing all the time, upset and sad because none of us have control about what's happening right now.
None at all.
And throwing tantrums and starting fucking fires and shit. It doesn't benefit.
It doesn't do anything.
But it's good. It's good to bring up the knowledge. We don't try to talk about Rona or anything like that just because you're beating a dead horse. Everybody's heard it 100 times. They don't want to hear it anymore. But it is good that D and myself have also brought this up to light because you have to know that there are a few pretty much freedom fighters, people that are speaking on behalf of the people because they generally care about what it is that's happening to the rest of us. He's generally a good guy. That's one of the top 3 people on the planet
that you can't deny. He's a really good
He's
person.
a generally good person that is just trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page, that they're not biting into this bullshit where everybody's like, oh, you have to get vaccinated, you have to do this. If you don't fall in line and do this, then you're a fucking criminal. And then look what happens. Everybody got vaccinated, everybody followed in line, gave up all information, and everybody's still getting fucking sick anyways.
Now we're about to have fucking vaccination passports, and
they won't push it now only because it's like the concept of how you needed to make it mandatory for a booster. Why do a booster if I'm still catching it?
They're doing it overseas, bro.
Yeah.
Australia's gone into another lockdown.
Australia opened back up.
They did?
They opened. Yeah, Australia opened back up.
I heard the UK was taking some hits with this new
it was either Australia or the UK. It was one
Omicron Persei 8 outbreak.
I think it's Omicron Bravo or some shit like that.
Well, so there's Omicron 1 point something, and then they found a 2.0.
Bro, this
is not a new variation. The 2.0 is not a new variation. It's a kind of like okay, so we've talked about this before. Lynn is mixed. So, Lynn's mom was this color, race, Lynn's dad was this race, and he came out mixed. That's ultimately what Omicron is. You have COVID, you have Delta, you have Omicron. Then you have version 1.0 and 2.0. They're still the same Omicron.
It's the same skill tree.
They're just different versions of it.
Meaning,
so it's not a new strain of a new strain.
No.
You know what I mean? So long and short of it, we are learning just like the rest of you. My thing is, like I said, it's called freedom of speech for a reason. Let the facts speak for themselves. So even if Joe Rogan is wrong, the fact of the matter is once all this is said and done and we look back, if he was wrong, we can discredit him then, or we can slap him on the wrist then. But until that happens, let the man speak. That's all I'm saying. That's what it boils down to. But I'm gonna go off my soapbox. We've gone about this long enough. Like I said, I've been hearing about it for so long.
It's nice. It's nice to bring it up.
Something.
It's nice to bring it up because we all kind of want to have our opinion on it, and I feel like it is good to know that it's not all one source of information.
Yeah,
I'm still listening to him on the daily. I still
Right.
get a lot of shit from them, even when I'm just doing dishes or I'm doing chores or at work. Having that play off in the background, I do learn a lot of shit because there's a lot of interesting people.
Yes.
But yes,
I don't listen to him become PhD.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting my associate's degree in just basic human knowledge from listening to his shit. Gary Vee said something about this a long time ago. Is going to college tends to be a waste of time. If you literally, what's the purpose in having people know all the presidents that we've had in this world when you literally have technology in your hand to tell you who is the 32nd president, who is the 50th president?
You don't feel the need to learn.
Yeah. So why has education in high school, middle school, and elementary school not changed to adapt to the new world's ability to be like, oh, I know how to get from one destination to another part. Why do I need to know a math equation on how to do that when my phone can do it for me?
Yes, and I mean that's what's going to boil down to. There was a not scientific. There was like a study done. Less men are going to college, more women are going to college. Men are most likely to drop out of college. Women are more likely to finish. So what they're saying is that's going to create a wage gap. You're going to have women that make more than men, but if women don't want to date a man who doesn't make at least as much as them or more, that means you're going to either have to A, drop your standards, or B, find the one, maybe 2 or 3 guys out there that are on your level and fight for them in the other lot of women, because they're going to be like a precious commodity. And it's like, okay, at the same time, but what's in your brain? Because it feels like you're just being indoctrinated nowadays. You're just being programmed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we'll see what 2022 is going to bring. We just wanted to give you guys a quick catch up. There may be a part 2 because we got a lot to go over.
There's a lot of shit.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about. But thank you for listening. We appreciate your time and your ear.
Yes.
Whatever. Like I said at the beginning, if you haven't already, check us out on Patreon. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube and Anchor. We're on pretty much all the social media platforms. If we're not on there, we're probably not going to be on there now. It's just, we're good. We've been working on the website. Check us out on projectairwaves.com.
Yes, please.
We'd love to hear from all of you. Check out our merch store on Teespring. I made my own store. Lynn's making his own store on top of our Project Airwaves store.
That hoodie coming.
Woo! I'm telling y'all, look, go check it out. We come out with some pretty fly designs.
PK Fire.
If you folks have any suggestions for designs you want to see, anything like that, we would gladly make a shirt as long as it sells. Other than that, I'm D.
This is Lynn.
Keep your head in the clouds.
Keep your feet on the ground. Always moving forward.
Project Airwaves signing out. You did good.